You live in a universe of energy. That's all that is. Now we can talk about that energy in various levels of vibration until it becomes something that you no longer recognize. And it is something that you no longer recognize because still you would be translating it through your own mind. That you think you know, that you believe that you know. Thank you. The energy comes into your body. Now, those of you who've studied Tai Chi, those of you who have not studied Tai Chi, those of you who've studied yoga, those of you who've studied various and sundry other exercises to raise the chi, ki, kundalini, all that nonsense. Well, it's not really nonsense. It's nonsense in terms of absolute truth. Okay? The Chinese and Japanese and Indians throughout time have, throughout the modern time, have had some vague remembrances of times long ago and have learned to use certain things to recreate the energy or to stimulate the energy, such as your yoga, Tai Chi, Aikido, acupuncture, or whatever. What happens is there is a stimulation of energy. Certain cultures use simple fear. It's all the same, doesn't matter. What happens then as the energy rises is people begin to determine what it is based upon old things within their minds. I've always told you, as your energy rises, the first thing you may think of is that you are horny, angry, because those are the first things in our minds. Now, there are two ways that we can look at this. We can look at this from the point that it rises in the body, and we assume certain things. Then is where your technique comes into play. You've been given the stop technique. Well, I don't know how many times I've said it, but people still do the same thing. They use the stop technique to stop the energy. No, it's to stop the mind. It's to stop the mind and allow the energy to flow. Because now we have the possibility of a different look at what the energy means. And you want to know something? I haven't found that it meant anything except to be correct. I feel well, regardless of James Brown feeling good. I saw that in a movie the other night, a very upwardly mobile black family. And the man had been afraid that his son was homosexual. And he found his son in his house, in the bed, with a girl. And he went dancing through the house on one foot, singing, I feel well. It was very, very funny, I thought. But that's all that it does. Then it changes your perspective of life. It changes the way you live life. There are two things that you must do. Relax and feel the energy. But if you're still calling the energy anger, you haven't performed the second part of the technique. You relax and feel the energy. The experience that you went through with the crystal is a part of the way you will feel when you let this happen. It is just that that is toned to a specific frequency of your chakras. Each chakra opens up or begins to spin more balanced in relationship to the sound. It is a universe of harmony, of harmonics, of harmony. Everything tends to vibrate at the rate of the strongest thing. Therefore, when you play it, your chakras begin to balance and you begin to feel nice and peaceful and loving and smooth and all that stuff. But that is because something outside of you has affected you. The idea is that your life is in your hands, means that you must affect these chakras from the inside. You must be in control. Because still, when you allow it to happen from outside, now I'm not saying don't do it. No, didn't say that. I'm saying understand this. Okay? You are still allowing something outside of you to have control over you, which means when you stop listening, you walk down the street, the car, the noise, the boombox, whatever, will still have control. All right? So it is more important to understand the process that is happening inside of your body so that you become in control. Whether you establish that from the outside or from the inside. If you are paying attention, if it is established from the outside, if you're paying attention to what it does inside, you learn and you become in control. Energy enters these chakras and provides you with the basis of human life. They spin, but it is within the body that you have. Okay? It is that Western science has, they're very foolish in a way, in that they only look for that which they can see. You can't see the energy. At least they can't. I can't. All right? They can't see it because they don't look for it. And they don't experience it within themselves, so they have no idea. So that idea is passed on to Western man. It cannot be in the body because we can't find it. Well, there were lots of things in the body you couldn't find until you found them. So how about looking? You see, so it is there. Now please understand me. You are not going to live forever. Let's get that thought out of your mind right here, right now. You come here to live, to experience, and to die. To die. Okay? This is only kindergarten. It's not a place you want to stay forever. You know. All right. You are going to die. Now, you experience a larger portion of your intelligence than your fellow man upon this earth. You can experience 100% of your intelligence in terms of the limitation of the mechanisms of the brain, the mechanism of the brain. That is the brain. That's not everything. I say 100% of that. But the brain is only geared for so much information. You cannot go down to the, those big, what do you call those things? Those giant electric wire things that, on top of these, well, not telephone, but the the high tension wires, and plug your radio in. Your radio will not work anymore. You're right. You see, I'm saying your brain can encompass what it encompasses, but I would dare say that most human beings use somewhere around 4% of their brain. 4%, that's ridiculous. Okay? So, you can, in fact, use 100%. But what you have to do is allow the energy as it is to raise in your body and to change your body. When you get angry, when you get frustrated, when you get all these things, you are preventing your body from using the energy. These are possibilities. These are points whereby you could allow that energy to rise and to change your being. But you must relax, and you must understand the energy, the feeling that it gives you. We got too many words, too much understanding of what things are. Some people are afraid. I am not afraid of anything. What they call fear is the energy rising, and then they start putting words on it. Well, I don't do that. I let it rise in my body, and as it rises, my eyes get wider, and I get this stupid smile on my face, which means I'm ready. Okay. All right. The voice from hell comes up. It means I'm ready. There's this voice that comes out of the soles of my feet like a rumble. It goes, ah! I'm ready. The energy is at a level that's phenomenal. My body is ready to use it. When you are afraid, you turn that energy in on yourself, you become frustrated. When you are angry, you turn that energy in on yourself and you become frustrated. We'll want to hurt someone or something. Well, the difference between us is, I don't know what I want to do. I'm ready to do whatever you make me do. If you allow me to walk away and leave me alone, you have no problem. If you don't, then somebody's got a problem. The energy rises purely. You have to learn to understand that. You now associate the rise of that energy with something negative or something on the lower vibrational frequency, which is sexual. Okay. I'm not saying sexual is bad. It is just the first, well, it's not really the first, but it's the first chakra at the base of your spine, on your spine. That energy has got to get all the way through here. The only way to do that is to focus on the energy. How do you do that? I've given you a technique I've given you the difference between feeling and thought. We like to think feeling has to do with thought. It does not. That is the biggest mistake that we make in this transformation process. Do this. Do it. Feel that. Don't say it hurts, just feel it. That's feeling. That's sensing. Anything else is thinking. That is not what you want to do. Then energy comes up. The same way that you felt that you put your attention there, put your attention on that energy. I guarantee you, as you relax, it will feel good. You will feel good. And the question then is, what problem? There is no problem here. You let it rise. As you learn to relax your body, it will go from the base chakra to here, to here, to here. This chakra at the heart is the transformational chakra. It transforms from the coarse energy, or the energy that has to do with this form, to spiritual energy. It passes the heart center to here, to here, to here. These are your spiritual centers. When the energy is into here, you will begin to perceive things differently. You will begin to see things, hear things differently. That's what it's about. But every time you go back into your mind, you throw yourself back to first base. You're practicing the wrong technique. It is the wrong technique if you are intent upon learning this thing. If you are intent upon remaining at the lower level of existence, by all means. But if you are intent upon being the total being, then you have to practice dealing with the energy in a different way. The energy comes from the source purely. This is the way generally your chakras function. But you will understand them as you allow the energy to enter them, and as you are paying attention to what happens inside of your body. One of the reasons I don't want to get into it too deeply is that you've got too many people running around thinking they know what they're talking about. And they don't. You've got 50,000 yogis in this city. You got shaman. You got Dao masters, you got this master. They can't find their ass with both hands. And the proverbial bloodhound. One of the things in general that I am amazed at, I am constantly amazed, people don't want the truth. They want the superficial. Because the real makes them have to change. I looked at a man, I guess last week sometime, went to see this lawyer. I am beginning to understand why people don't like lawyers. I listened to this man pontificate to me about communications. When this SOB, something he should have told me and explained to me the last time we had the meeting, that he didn't. Didn't say anything, but I look and I listen. We've got the words, but what do they mean? We haven't the foggiest idea about the purity of what that means. Communicate. It's all about purity. We don't believe in purity. But it's there. We cannot have the purity of love because we don't believe in purity. Because we have not examined the tensions in our body, we still, some way, think that purity has to do with, I don't know, being a virgin. Well, I don't think so. I think purity has to do with purity. This to the exclusion of all other things. I think this is what purity has to do with. It is that we have to go toward, that we have to work toward. It's there. Believe me, it's there. But you have to find it. And I'm saying to you, the transformation is the only way that you find it. I look at it. There are people that have been with me for years who don't think I know what I'm talking about. You know, it's like, damn. You ninny. I don't say it. I don't say it to them, although I have contemplated it. The thing I said in the beginning was, hey, don't take my word, do it and find out. If you haven't done it, what I ask you to do, there is no way that you can honestly sit there or stand there and say that I don't know. Because you haven't done what I ask you to do. You have not performed the formula that will tell you you don't know. To us, the world is a very important place. One of the reasons it's a very important place is for us, we intend to live our old age as, what's the word, decrepit old people. That's what we intend to do. Well, see, I just want to get to 65 And I'm going to sit back and your brain is going to rot. No, 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 no. You've got to get that energy up into your brain to clear out all that crap. You will notice as the energy hits the chakras, whether it is from this voice or from this being or from a tape or from whatever it is that causes it to vibrate, your body starts to want to give up things. Your body starts to want to go to the bathroom, to have a bowel movement, or to throw up, or your nose starts running and you start sneezing, the shit starts running out. The energy is cleaning house. These vortexes start to spin. But you must let it happen. I say to you that you have to be in pain. You have to hurt. Well, you don't have to, but that pain shows you where your mind is. It shows you exactly what you have to give up. See, you have to give up the old idea of stuff in order to grasp what it really is. That's why I say, you find out when this whole thing happens, you already knew it anyway. It's just that the way you thought you knew it was wrong. I found out that night that everything I knew was wrong. The words were right. What those words meant were absolute. First things first, learn. Now, the whole transformation is about releasing the stresses in your body that allows these chakras to, or these vortexes to spin at a natural rhythm that will bring you knowledge from that rhythm. That's why some people say, oh, sometimes I just understand stuff. That's because you've gotten out of your way and allowed the transformer to give you the information. Wow. But then we go back into the thing that shut off the transformer and live back at that level again. That is not where you're meant to live. Earth, heaven. Thicker rhythms, thicker vibration, thinner, finer vibrations. Bass, boom, boom, boom. Again, that's why when you hear bass, everybody starts doing this. Little butts start working. Because it's causing that chakra to vibrate. But that's as far as we want to go. Hey, hey, here we are. It starts to get a little higher. Up in here is where we start to feel good. You know, we start feeling, yeah. We kind of start moving this part a little bit. Because it's got this chakra, this vortex vibrating. Now we got to get it past here, up into here. Because now we begin to hear things that others don't hear. Some of it you listen to. See, every color, if you take the spectrum, you take blue, if you look at that blue, there is a range of blue. Okay? The lower range of blue corresponds to the lower ranges of things, except on a higher level. So where you have to get up into is the light blues, all right? So some of the things that you're going to hear, you can't pay any attention to because they're real screwed up. A lot of stuff you will start to hear are the thoughts of other people. You can't just go thinking you're hearing the voice of God when it's Joe down the street. You know, it's saying, oh, it's all right. Go out and kill a few people and sacrifice them. You know, yeah, it's all right. Sacrifice some animals. That's cool. No, that's not cool. You got to get higher. Yes, ma'am.
When you say here, you mean like here, like what's fine?
Yeah, except it's in here. At first you might go, what? But you soon learn to tell the difference because you can't go, what, too much out in public and people start looking at you funny. Yeah.
There's a hearing where you put no words into
That's as it gets pure. That's as it gets pure, more and more pure toward the upper range or the upper octaves in that range. You wanted to...
For about a couple of weeks, I was hearing someone calling my name, and it's my last name. I'm at school, and I kind of told one who's there.
Usually that calling of the name is from that future self calling you in a particular direction. You see, you've heard me say you're not the person you were yesterday, and you're not the person you're going to be tomorrow. All right? It's that future self that often calls. Remember I said a flower pushes from the past and pulls from the future. So it's all about you, actually. Yeah, sometimes you do hear people calling you. You learn the difference in time, but time is just, you've got to be in here and study the living book. That's why I said put down the other books, study the living book, and stuff happens. Just feel the energy and allow the energy to run its course. When you see yourself, you're going to discover tensions in your body that are very, very subtle. So as you relax them, coming more and more up the body, up the body, up the body, the other stuff will just happen. So right now, one of the things that's happening is you're just seeing the self. But focus your energy. You're seeing the self as the self exists at a particular chakra level. Chakra, whatever, you know. Don't worry about the word. Just feel the body. Feel it for its tensions. Feel it for the energy movement. That's where you focus right now. That self is just the observer there. And that's good. Just let the observer watch. That's how you really, really get to learn a lot of this stuff. People say to me, well, how do you know this stuff? Well, that's how. That's how. Yeah. That's why you have to see a thing differently. That's why one of the things I've done over the years, I spent a lot of time giving you a lot of information from a certain perspective within myself. And then all of a sudden, I stopped giving you certain kinds of support and information. Well, one of the reasons, it's like when we talked about doing things from the outside and doing things from the inside. One of the reasons I do that is now I'll just say something to you. Well, what I want you to do is see me and what is being said differently, different from the context that you always see things. You see what I'm saying? You've got to come to another conclusion about what's being said to you and what it means. I do things all the time, to elicit your thought process. But most of the time what I get is what you ordinarily get. And see, that's why that's a part of the process between you and I. All right? It's to try and get you to step across that line and see something differently. I've given you hints all these years. I've said things like the answer is yes, no, both, and neither. That's a hint. Hint, hint, hint. So when I say something that you think is, oh, that's non so and so and so and so, blah, 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 blah. Think another thought. See another possibility. That's the process. I'm trying to get you to cross that line. I'm trying to get you out of your ordinary thought habits. The technique of listen, look, smell, touch, feel, or whatever they are. Taste. Is to get you so that when you're doing your ordinary things like driving, see, driving will click in an ordinary thought pattern. Going to bed at night will click in an ordinary thought pattern. So if you do this other thing, it puts you aware and you can't think the thoughts that you ordinarily think. You ordinarily get in the car and boom, you start thinking what you want to think, blah, blah, blah. Just all kinds of nonsense comes in. Chances are when you get ready to go to bed at night, the first things you think of are sexual when you get ready to close your eyes and go to sleep. Well, you got to do something. You got to do better than that. Because that's what you ordinarily do. That's what you have done. That's what you have become comfortable with. You can't live in a comfortable world. You can't do it. If you live in a comfortable world, all you're saying is, I'm growing roots. Trees grow roots. People don't grow roots. Okay? All right? This is where I want to be. Well, you're saying, I want to settle into these mind things. This is where I want to be. Well, you can't do that. You can't have both. It's as simple as that. You can't think the same new thought. You can't do that. You have to think either a new thought or the same thought. You see? You see it in a different way or the same way. So the process, this whole transformation, is allowing the energy to rise, go through what it takes you through. It'll take you there. When it hurts you, it's telling you, relax. You got to learn to relax that spot. You've been tense in that spot for so long, relaxing it now becomes painful because you fused it in that particular spot. You fused it. If you hold your arm like this for years, somebody said, well, you're supposed to let it hang at your side. You think it won't hurt? It will hurt like mad. You ever been in a cast? And when they take you out of the cast, whatever joint it is just like that. And when it hurts real bad when because the muscles have atrophied in that position. So it hurts. Well, hey. You see, that's the way it goes. You cannot have growth without some pain because there are things that you absolutely, positively will not look at. The pain comes to tell you, hey, it's not about this. It's about this. That's what we want to do. We want to eliminate that. You can't. It's always going to be there. What you'll have to eliminate is the problem with that. See, it's all about recognition. It's all about recognition. We just recognize. We've forgotten how to recognize. We've forgotten how to allow that little light to go on. Remember when you were a kid and all of a sudden you recognized something, everything got bright? That's a minor awakening. It's a minor enlightenment. You know that moment of brightness? With the whole awakening, that moment of brightness is 1,000,000 times brighter, and it doesn't go away. It's real strange. It just doesn't go away. And you can do all this stuff, and you can say all this stuff, and it doesn't go away. You know? You see things very, very cleanly and clearly, but it's about that recognition, and you will recognize. Take your time. You see, one of the things you want to do, I don't mean you specifically, but yes, you specifically and you generally, or the world generally. We want to rush, and you can't rush. All you have to do is just do. Just keep doing it until you're recognized and everything's okay. Now, today's lecture has been very, 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 very important. Today is how to. The question is asked all the time. Well, how to? How do you do this? And okay. Here is how you do this. But you must do this, and you must do it with your eyes open. Remember the last lecture I said that it takes you years just to understand how to do it, let alone doing it. To understand how to do it. Once you understand how to do it, then you start doing it. So it's important. Just to do it. A matter of, let's talk about what faith is. You just do what you're supposed to do. You don't need motivation to do it. You just do it. No matter what you think, you do what you're supposed to do. Well, one of the things is you ultimately learn how to do the proper thing no matter what. You don't need motivation. You just do it. Well, in certain sense, you've got to have certain happen to you stuff at certain levels. But you've got to be aware of the happening to you stuff because it brings you messages about stuff you are doing, should be doing, could be doing. It brings you all kinds of messages. There are times to just watch and observe. Okay? And we've given you techniques for that. Okay? This is how it should be. This is what needs to be done. It's all up to each individual. When you get there, you'll know, but you can't rush. You just have to. It's like if you're walking across the street, you just have to put one foot in front of the other one. That gets you across the street. All of this, you see, at any moment, the whole thing can happen for you. The whole thing can happen for you at any moment. You can just, boom, damn. The story of the nun and the well. She had tried and tried and tried years. 40 years this woman, well, she wasn't a Catholic nun, she was a Buddhist nun. Years and years and years, and she just couldn't do it. And one day she went down to the well, filled up the buckets and put them on her shoulders and was walking back up the hill. The stick broke, the water fell, and suddenly she gave up. She just couldn't take it anymore, and there it was. Oh. Take off the nun habit, take off the stuff, and go on about your business. See? It can happen, but you have to go for it. You know, and going for it means going for it in the proper way. Remember, it's not about me saying anything to you. It's about the methods that you have been given to use to find out for yourself. And if you still harbor anywhere in your heart whether I know what I'm talking about or not, cut that crap out. Just cut it out. Because that's much to do about nothing. It's right back to the technique. It's not about me. It's about you. And what you do. That's what it's about. You see what I'm going to see? I'm going to see. My life is going to be okay. I hop around here and drag around. I'm fine. The Japanese have a language of the enlightened ones. When one passes another, the other one says, "Oh, I see you're playing at being so-and-so today." Well, yeah, I see you're playing at being so-and-so today. What that says is, What I'm saying is meaningless. I'm just here. Remember the story of the man came home early from work and there was a guy there with his wife, and the guy jumped up and hid in the closet? And the guy opened the door and he says, "What are you doing in my closet?" He said, "Well, everybody got to be somewhere." "Well, you're here, you got to say something." "Okay. You're here, you talk. It's just talk. It doesn't mean anything. So when I complain, I'm just complaining. It doesn't mean anything to me. Why should it mean anything to you?" You know, I'm going to be fine. It's you that you've got to concern yourself with. Well, what are Nan and I going to do together? Well, not a whole hell of a lot of anything. You're going to do what you do. I'll supply my part. Puzzle is complete. Thing happened. Fun and games. Everything is over. You see? That's the way it has to be. But I've had people say, "Send me some energy." Okay. Now what are you going to do with it? Well, it can be done, and is done. But the thing is, what do you do with it? When you get it. What do you do with it? I watch. Okay, here. Now what? It's like saying, "Send me a car." You haven't the foggiest idea how to drive. Okay, here. Boom, bam, boom. Well, all right. Yes, okay, I understand. You see? So it's about you. It's not about me and the magic. You cannot fathom the amount of magic that goes on between us. And sometimes people say stuff to me about magic and they look at me like, "Well, you don't believe that, do you?" And I look at them like, I'm the magician. You see? I had someone say, "Oh yeah, this guy in India I met, this guy could pull ashes right out of the nothing." And look at me like, "Oh well, yeah, he really did it." Okay. I believe it, but what do you want with ashes, Or, something to eat, maybe. Maybe a pork chop, low fat, no cholesterol, Hey, that'd be good, yeah. Pizza, no fat, no cholesterol, that tastes just like pepperoni sausage pizza, I'm saying I know that magic happens. So I create it all the time. It's just a matter of to what end. I create it out of what I am. That's the way it is. Not that I don't believe in it. I, of course, believe in magic. But magic has something behind it. Things don't happen for no reason at all. And for me, I'm not going to get all bent out of shape about it because I understand it. Because people don't understand it, they get all bent out of shape. Wow. And they follow gurus around like they're rock stars. Hey, there's a reason why. There's a reason why you have developed the way you have developed with chakras. The earth has chakras. It all has to do with what the scientists would call electromagnetic energy. The Japanese would call it ki, the Chinese chi, whatever. Everything has poles. Men have poles. Trees have poles. The earth has poles. Rocks have poles. Petunias have poles. Everything got a pole. All God's children got poles. Yeah, right. It's about electromagnetic energy flows. It's about flows in through your head from the, quote, heavens and up through your feet from the earth. It's about balances between those flows, just like a magnet. We go and we look at the North Pole and say, oh, we look at the, what do you call that? Yes. And then we don't believe in auras. We're sitting there looking at the Earth's aura going, wow, I don't believe in auras. Well, there it is, guys. It's happening around the crown center, see? There it is. All that is developed on the earth is developed in the same way. The earth will do its thing and right itself. I love, I can't think of the guy's name now. Yeah, Carl. Says we're worried about the earth. Worrying about destroying the earth. He says the earth isn't going anywhere. It's man that's going to be wiped out. Earth is going to be fine. It's going to continue to do what it does because it will continue to right itself. And a part of what it will do to right itself is going to be like a dog shaking water off. And folks are going to go flying. There was a time, ladies and gentlemen, when the earth was flat. Men said the earth was flat. We, in all of our infinite wisdom, say that's ridiculous. The earth is round. Earth, dirt, was flat. All the continents were in one place. Then we had the time of the Great Flood, when they went... That was a big shift. It's called the shifting of the tectonic plates, folks. And they keep going, see, they went out like that, and now they kind of sit like that, but they're going kind of like this. And guess what's going to happen when they get to this intersection on the other side? Boom! Whoa. We want to get comfortable. Well, I got news for you. It is dynamic. And in dynamic, you have to be comfortable in the dynamics, in the changes. You have to know that the changes are coming and be perfectly willing to accept those changes, because that's all the comfort you're going to get. And anything that is dynamic, it moves. Study this tape well. Do your exercises. Enough for today. Namaste.